Hello, my name is Thad, and I would like to welcome you to this video on how to use Adobe Photoshop to enhance your graphite illustrations. In this video, we're going to take a hand-drawn image and convert it into a more elegant image with some very subtle modifications. Now I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the next couple of steps on my computer. After you have your hand-drawn image scanned with a resolution set to 300 dots per inch and a saved JPG file, go ahead and open Adobe Photoshop, then choose Open and your recently saved JPEG file. I saved my file to the desktop under Scanned Image. It looks like my image was saved upside down, so let's go ahead and straighten this image out. However, this layer is locked and will need to be unlocked before we can progress. So let's go ahead and double-click on the layer, and you will notice a new layer dialog box will appear. Simply click on OK, and now this layer is unlocked. Now that this layer is unlocked, I can go ahead and rotate the image to the correct viewpoint. We can do this by finding the Edit pull-down menu and then clicking on the Free Transform tab. I would like to mention that it's a good rule of thumb in Photoshop to always hold down the Shift button when you're moving images around in any way. The Shift button will keep your images from becoming squished or stretched. Always remember that nothing looks more unpleasant to an art director than a squished or stretched photograph. So again, hold the Shift key down and move your cursor to the upper right hand side of the image, and swiftly move your cursor to the opposite bottom left side of the image. Then hit Enter while still holding down the Shift key. Now we're going to go ahead and adjust the brightness of the image. To do this, you'll need to find the Image tab on the uppermost quadrant of the Graphic User Interface. After clicking on the Image tab, select Adjustments, then Brightness and Contrast. As you can see, my soft line work can be deeply enhanced by just slight modification with the brightness slider bar. At this point, I'm ready to crop the unnecessary elements from my illustration. To do this, I'm going to go to the left-hand tool selection and click on the fifth tool down, the Crop tool. You can also access this tool by simply punching C on your keyboard. Now that the crop tool is selected, hold down your right mouse button starting at the upper left hand side of the illustration and moving down to the bottom right hand side of the image. Then click Enter. Now that my image is somewhat darker and cropped, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more depth to this image and then finally colorize this drawing. But before I create any other layers, I'll need to name the one that I have. To do this, double click on the text that says Layer 0 in the Layers section located in the bottom right hand side of Photoshop. When you do this, a white box with a highlighted blue text area will appear. Now you simply have to type in the new name for your layer. I'm calling mine Original Layer. To add further depth to my image, I'll need to make a precise duplication of this layer. To do this, I'm going to drag my layer down to the Create New Layer tab on the bottom of the Layers section. This button is the second button from the right, located to the immediate left of the trash can. Now I have a duplicate layer, and because I named the first layer, this duplicate layer has this name, Original Layer Copy. And I'm going to add further dimension to this image before I apply color. To do this, I will be setting the blending mode for the layer by clicking on the pull-down menu just below the Layers tab. And you'll see a number of choices. They're all very interesting. However, I'm going to just use the linear burn feature for this image to further magnify the intensity of this graphic. Now for a slight modification, slide the opacity to 75% and fill to 89. Again, these features are all located at the top of the Layers tab. Lastly, I'm going to show you how to colorize an image. To colorize an image in Photoshop, I like to open a new layer, and we'll just call this new layer Color, and place it on top of my other layers in the Layers panel. So to do this, I'll first click in the Layers tab on the Create New Layer. Again, this tab is to the immediate left of the trash can. I will name this layer Color. Now with this new layer highlighted, I'll need to select the rectangular marquee tool, and that's on the far left hand tool section. This is the second tool from the top and can be quickly chosen by simply punching M on your keyboard. Now that the rectangular marquee tool is selected, hold down your right mouse button starting at the upper left hand side of the illustration and move down to the bottom right hand side of the image. Then click Enter. You will see something called moving ants, sometimes also called marching ants, encircling your illustration like a bunch of sharks. Now this means that your image is ready to apply color. To apply color, simply select a fill color. I'm using yellow from my color choices at the top right hand side of the Photoshop graphic user interface. Next, select the paint bucket tool. The paint bucket tool can be easily selected by clicking G to rapidly choose this option. Now that you have a color selected and your paint bucket tool ready, click with the left mouse button to fill the color with yellow. Lastly, I will be setting the blending mode for the color by choosing the pull down tab at the top of the layers tab. Move this to saturation and I think this image is complete. At the end of this fine video, I'd like to thank you for watching, and like many other graphic designers, I've discovered the usefulness of the Adobe Creative Suite. Whether drawing structured lines, touching up a photo, building a website, or making an animation, this software has a reputation of being the graphic design industry standard for a reason. Again, my name is Thad, and I would like to thank you for watching this video.